I told you last week that I was a massive idiot. Wait till you hear about what I did at this week's gigs. I'm going to start off with the gigs, why not? Let's talk about it. Thursday night, I was in Manchester. I was doing two shows. I was doubling up. Started the night off at La Fienda Comedy Club. I was opening the show. La Fienda, love going there. Now, on this night specifically, it always leans left, leans young. This time, very young audience. It looked like almost everyone in the crowd was a student, essentially. There was one group of lads that had come from some kind of like men's charity, like men's loneliness kind of charity. Not Andy's Man Club, but something like that. So those blokes were like near the back, they were older than the students, but like for the most part, everyone's really young. And I worry a little bit when I play a young crowd because I feel like maybe my references will be off because they've got completely different references, even though like the gap isn't that big. Well, actually, it is quite big actually. Like I'm more than the difference is more than half of their age. So they were a child when I started being an adult. So yeah, the references are so different, and I'm like, how's it gonna go? And went on. Jack Kelly was hosting. Lovely lad, Jack Kelly, doing a fantastic job hosting, doing a fantastic job helping run the show at La Fienda at Lions Den in Manchester, which is either every Thursday night or every other Thursday night. Either way, I ended up having a hell of a lot of fun there. Now, one thing that La Fienda do that a lot of places don't really do, they ask you, do you want, like, what walk-on music do you want? And not a lot of places have walk-on music. And I feel like, I'll be honest with you, I feel like it's not needed, but it works as well. Like, if it's one of those things as a comedian that if you pick the right walk-on music, it can just help you set the tone for when you get on stage. Like, I used to try and like just go with songs that I really liked that I thought were cool, and I was walking on stage to Kendrick Lamar, and I felt like it didn't set the crowd off at the right zone because they were already looking at me going like, right, where does he place with this music playing? Like how does he see himself? How does he want us to view him? And really, I don't want anything kind of to do with like that kind of, because it's like cool music. I don't want to be on stage being like, hey, I'm Mr. Cool Guy, because that's what all the cool guys say. I don't know what cool guys are like. They're always saying, hey, I'm the cool guy. Yeah, it's an interesting like thing being able to pick the right music. But it's like everything in stand up. If you do it right, just the small things, it can just give you that extra bit of juice that can just lubricate the wheels a little bit more and get that train to Laughter Town a little bit quicker. That analogy really fell into place then, didn't it? So yeah, starting off the night at La Fienda, really enjoyed myself. And then I was at Creatures Comedy Club, which is across town. Not been in Creatures for about 3 months. I think it was December last time I was there, that little nook in between Christmas and New Year. And I was closing the first section there. Now, the host of that show, he'd ended up being late. So the guy who was supposed to be on first, he was hosting it now. And when I was speaking to the host in the back, and he was like, hey, you're going to be end of this section. And I was like, yeah, cool. And he showed me, and there's 3 names on that list. Anyway, I've not put together that the guy on stage is number 1 on that list, because I didn't look at the other names. He just pointed at the third one. I could just see there's 2 above it. Yeah, it's a bit dark. I'm not going to go through reading it right. So I'm there thinking, I can relax. I got loads of time. Next guy goes on. It was Alfie Carter up the top. Next guy goes on, Henry Michael from Stoke. I think he's a doctor. He's definitely in the medical profession. He does like a lot of jokes around that. And then Alfie goes back on, and I'm just sat there chilling, going, I wonder who it is before me. And he goes, right, next comedian this side of man. And I'm like, oh crap, I just completely was not ready. And it catches you off guard a little bit then, because you want to be in a good state where you're getting ready to like time yourself on your watch. You're getting ready to I record all my stuff on my phone. I want to be clicking all these buttons, going up there, and it gets you going, oh crap, it gets you kind of out of it. But went up there, and again had a very good time. The crowd here, way different from the La Fienda. So this crowd was very much like a mixed age kind of crowd. So you had like some older couples who were just there for like a night out. There was like maybe some younger couples, there's like 3 younger girls, maybe in their late 20s. How old do I sound? I'm referring to like women in their late 20s as younger girls. Like anyway, 3 younger girls, younger than me, sat in the front row there. There's a group at the back. Yeah, anyway, it was like a more like a mixed bag anyway. And again, loved playing it. Went up there, did a lot of the same stuff. There was one joke that I'd just written. When did I write it? Did I write it earlier that day? I think I might have wrote it earlier that day. I did it at La Fienda. It went really well. I did it the second time. I mixed it up a little bit. I said it in a different way. And it didn't go as well. So in my head, I'm like, right, I need to get back to the original way that I said it. Keep trying it like that and make sure it's actually got legs, because maybe it just doesn't have legs whatsoever. It's about the Iran war, actually. If we're just going to be honest about things, that's what the joke is about. So, yeah, I need to get back to that. Get it working. Then I did that joke the next night. Here we go. Let's get to the embarrassing story where I make myself look like a very unprofessional idiot. So, I told you the story last week. This gig was originally booked for Saturday the week earlier. They'd email me to let me know that it's been rearranged for Friday. I didn't read the email properly, or I didn't take it in. I can't really remember. Either way, I end up at the train station. I'm waiting for 15 minutes for my train. Before I realise it, I'm like, wait a second. I need to check my emails. Check my emails. I see that the gig's not even that day. It's been rearranged. I have to tuck my tail between my legs, go back to the ticket office, get a refund for my ticket, but that's not going to stop me the second time around. The second time around on Friday, I know now. I've got this gig. It's been rearranged. I'm opening the show. I've got to be there by 7:45 for an 8 p.m. show time. Not a problem. It might be a trek from my house. That's not a problem. I consider myself a hard worker. I consider myself someone, especially in the comedy zone, that like, if you give me a gig, I'm going to be there by hook or by crook. So, it's one train from where I live in Bolton to Manchester Piccadilly. Then it's a second train from Manchester Piccadilly to Newton for Hyde. Once you get to Newton for Hyde, you need to get a bus. And then you need to, it's like a 4-minute bus, which takes you like towards a main road. And then from that main road, there's a second bus, which then takes you to right near the venue. Not a problem, ladies and gentlemen. I can do that. I can do it with my hands tied behind my back. I mean, literally, because it's just getting on the train and the bus. Of course, you can do it with your hands behind your back. Anyway, get the first train. Smooth sailing. Get the second train. Smooth sailing. However, as I get to Newton for Hyde, the bus had been delayed. So I thought, right, I'm doing a bit of a mathematical calculation. If this bus gets delayed anymore, then by the time it gets to that main road, I'm going to miss that second bus. Now, it wasn't a case where the first bus takes me closer to the venue. It was a case of it takes me to a main road, equal distance from the venue from where I'm starting off. So I'm thinking, well, I'm going to spend money to get on a bus to drop me somewhere where I'm going to miss the second bus, and then I'm going to be the equal distance away, however, with less time and a couple less quid. But the money in this instance doesn't really matter, but the time is of the essence, because I've got about, let's say I've got 45 minutes. No, 40 minutes I think I had to get to the venue. I look on Google Maps. It's a 35-ish minute walk to the venue. I think, right, do you know what? It's a little bit drizzly, a little bit rainy. It's a 35-minute walk, just over a mile and a half. I'm just going to risk it. I'm going to walk it, and I'm not going to wait for the bus. Because if I wait for the bus and I miss that, and it's delayed, and I miss that second bus, it's going to be a very, very long walk, and I'm going to have way less time to do it. So just set off now and crack on. Okay, boom, done it. I start setting off. I text the organiser who's also hosting it, Graham Rayner. I text him and I say, "Hiya mate, just to let you know, I'll be there before the show starts. However, sorry, but I'm going to be late. I'm not going to make it for 7:45. The bus has been delayed, so I've taken the responsibility upon myself to go and walk it so I can get there at least for show time." He goes, "Not a problem. I'll see you soon." Okay, cool. I'm there, I'm walking. Listen, I'm young-ish, I'm fit-ish, I'm walking. I think, you know what? I'm smashing this. I start speeding up. When it's a bit of a hill, I have a bit of a jog down the hill. I think, you know what? Why not jog down the hill? Cut a bit of time out. I'm boiling up a little bit. I wear skinny jeans. Yeah, I'm too old for them. Yeah, they're out of fashion, but I still wear them all right. I got a wardrobe full of them upstairs. I ain't buying new jeans. I don't care that much about fashion. I'll keep the fashion from 2007. Thank you very much. So, I'm rushing. Boom, boom, boom. Shin splints a little bit. Legs starting to hurt. Doesn't matter. I've got it in the gas tank. Mile and a half. Boom, mile and a half done. A little bit. Light at the end of the tunnel. I can see it. I look at my watch. Oh my goodness. I'm actually going to make it on time. Never mind being late. I'm thinking, I've smashed this. I have absolutely smashed this. Adam, you are a legend, mate. You took the responsibility. You thought, you know what? I ain't going to wait for that bus. I ain't going to potentially be delayed, miss the second bus, and I'll save a couple of quid on the first bus and the second bus. Adam, you are smashing it, lad. Well bloody done. Class. Oh, you're brilliant. Just as I get towards the venue, there's a massive cobbled hill leading up to it. Not a problem though. I've made really good time. Yeah, my left calf was hurting a little bit. My left shin, like I said, maybe shin splints, maybe a bit of calf cramp. I can't remember what was going on. I just remember my leg hurt a little bit. It was a bit tough to walk. However, I'm thinking, do you know what? It might be a steep hill. It might be a cobbled path. However, once I've climbed it, I'll be at the venue. Doesn't matter how wonky the cobbles are. Doesn't matter how steep the hill. I smash it. I even walk quicker up there because there's a woman walking a dog coming the other way, and it's quite a dark alleyway, and I'm thinking she might be intimidated by me because I look like a creepy weirdo bloke who's half limping coming up this hill going because I was smashing it in my head, but in reality I was probably struggling a little bit. Anyway, I'm going this way, she's coming this way. I'm thinking, let's get out of her way. Let her just walk peacefully. Let's not be a bother for anyone, Adam. Let's not be a bother. I get there. I get to the venue. I walk in. I'm having a look around the place. I'm thinking, okay, it looks like a pub lunchy kind of place. People seem to be out here having a bit of a roast dinner, spending time with their families, that kind of thing. Okay, that's fine. Not a problem. I'm looking around. I walk over there and I can't see anywhere there's a microphone and a speaker. I think, must be upstairs, must be in a separate room. It's not a problem, Adam, it's not a problem. Ask the girl working there. I go up to the girl working there, bless her. She must have been about 16 years old. I've gone up to her and I've been like, hiya, where's the comedy? And she looks at me and she's like, proper confused. She's like, is this a joke? And I'm like, no, is the comedy on air tonight? And she was like, I don't think so. I'm like, what? I'm looking around the place and I'm thinking, I can't see a microphone, can't see a speaker, can't see any of the other acts, can't see the organizer. Quickly, I go behind the bar, I ask the guy standing there, because she's only 16, she might be new, she might not be paying attention. I probably wouldn't be either if I was working as a teenager. Go ask the lad behind the bar, he might have been all a bit more. Hiya mate, is a comedy here tonight? He's like, no. I'm like, is this Manchester Road? He's like, you're thinking of Droylsden, mate. This is Hyde. You what? I've gone to the Buxton in Hyde, not Droylsden. I've gone to the wrong blooming town. Yeah, they're both part of Tameside. Yeah, they're not that far apart. But guess what? I'm on foot. I'm walking it. How far is it to Droylsden? So I politely ask, how far is it to get there? He goes, walking or drive? I go, driving, mate. He goes, 8 minutes. I go, thank you very much. See you later. I get out of that venue, straight onto Uber. Uber driver gets there. It says on the phone, 18 minutes, not 8 minutes. Bear in mind, I'd nailed it. I'd got there on time, 7:45. What's 7:45 plus 2 minutes inside, talking to the girl, talking to the guy, plus 18. Not on time, that's what it is. It's not going to be there for short time. I'm thinking, I have ballsed this up twice now, and I'm not even on stage. It's twice in a week I've messed up this gig. I've not even got to the stage yet. I'm panicking. I'm like, what is going on? Like, what am I doing, Adam? Like, driver's driving. And like, listen, I'm panicking a bit inside, but I'm also a bit like play it cool, relax a little bit, try and bring yourself down. So I messaged Graham, the organiser, go, "Hi mate, long story short, I'm actually going to be there a little bit late, but I'm in an Uber. I'll explain when I get there." He goes, "Not a problem." I tell him like my ETA was 8:08 was my ETA. I got there at 8:09 in the end by the time the driver pulled up and I got out of the car and all that. Anyway, he goes, "Not a problem, Adam. Not a problem at all. I'll be on stage when you get here. Come in, get a drink on the tab, and I'll bring you on when I'm ready." Okay, that's not a problem. I'm still panicking inside though. I'm still like, "Oh, I can't believe I've done this. Can't believe I've done it." Like, I've not gigged for him for years. I've not seen him for years. I look really unprofessional. You don't want to be late for anyone, but especially someone who, like, they've not seen you for ages. You know, is this what you always do? Are you just always late? I think I gigged for him once in the past, in about 2019, early 2020. So this is like a long time ago. So maybe it's like, oh, he can't be always late, can he? And I don't want to be considered as someone who's like unprofessional and stuff like that. Anyway, I'm in the car, I'm thinking, trying to relax. So I'm asking the driver, I'm thinking like, right, the first thing I want to say is, we all want to say the same thing. You busy? Is it busy tonight? No, I'm not going to say that. That's what Peter Kay says. In my mind is always, don't be like Peter Kay. Not because Peter Kay is great, but a lot of people like to compare me to Peter Kay and automatically be like, "You're not as good as Peter Kay." Well, no, crap, mate. Peter Kay is the most successful British comedian of all time. I've only just started. Let me catch up a little bit. Give me a bit of time, pal. Give me a show on BBC. That would be nice as well. Anyway, so I'm thinking, right, don't say that. And then be like, "You working late tonight? You just got a note?" Can't ask him that. That's what Peter Kay as well. You've been busy. You just got on. No, can't be asking him that. I've got an ace in the bag. I go, "Where you from, mate?" He goes, "Pakistan." In my head, I'm like, I knew it. Not because I'm a racist, because I'm from Pakistan. So I go, "Where in Pakistan?" I can't remember what he said. I'll be honest. Faisalabad, let's just say. I go, "Oh, cool." I go, "I'm from Jhelum." He goes, "Oh, you're from Jhelum? Whereabouts in Jhelum?" I said, "Just by the GT road, mate." He's like, "Oh, right. Cool." He weren't bothered. But I was trying to calm myself down inside. Anyway, get to the gig. And it was rough. I'll be honest. Crowd there, bit rough and ready. Not so, they were a bit easily distracted with each other, like kind of chatting like little bits in between them. Horse was getting them into shape and he was, kind of like controlling them and that kind of thing. But it's one of those crowds where like they don't really listen to the rules, because in their minds they're like, "So what if I'm talking? It's fine." Not realising it's ruining it for other people, and it got a little bit eggy towards the end of my set. I tried to keep it under control, but like a couple of lads had just like gone out before my set, and then they just come back and then start talking. So as much as I could get them under control here, they just come in halfway through. So they like a whole thing from scratch for me. So yeah, had to get that under control. But I had a good time with it. I had a really good time with it. I've kind of moved around my set a little bit. So I've started off with my opener, which I've had for a while. And now I'm putting my bolts and stuff, which usually comes about 50% into my set. Now it's coming straight away, about 5% in there. Early doors, starting with that. I'm liking where it fits there. And I'm liking how I can build from the audience and use that stuff as a starting point. But yeah, had a good time. So yeah, 3 gigs in 2 days. Really enjoyed myself. Oh my goodness me. After Creatures, I went and got myself an Archie's burger. Bit and all in my tongue. Like, bit a big chunk in my tongue. Like, I don't know how I did it. It was right in the middle as well. Right there it was. I don't know how I did that. How'd you bite the middle of your tongue? And I bit it over here as well, not even at the front. Awful, painful, difficult to eat the rest of my food, but I carried on and I did it. Then the next day, after that one, oh, this is the thing as well. After the gig, I looked out, how do I get back home? It was just a tram and a train. So I had gone all the way to Hyde, which was 2 trains and supposed to be 2 buses, for a gig that was going to be 1 train and 1 tram away from home. So I wasted all that time. I wasted extra money. Got myself all hot and bothered. And when I got there, I got like a pint of ice water and just downed all that because I needed like to cool myself down inside. One, from the embarrassment and the stress and the anxiety, but also for the fact that I'd been walking and nailing it for like 25 minutes just to get there and then ended up in the wrong place. But yeah, that was my 3 gigs in 2 days last week. Got a nice little run of gigs coming up this week as well, actually. I'm doing Manford's Comedy Club in Penrith on Saturday, which that should be good. In fact, so let's talk about this first. It's going to be Eid this week. Now, a lot of non-Muslims don't really understand how Eid works and what's happening. So I'm going to quickly break it down for you. Eid is going to be either Thursday, which is today when you're seeing this, or Friday. Now, I think it's going to be Friday. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Friday. But I think there is a slight possibility it could be Saturday for us, because it goes off the sighting of the moon. And what some Muslims do is some Muslims follow Saudi Arabia, and some Muslims follow your nearest Muslim place. So for us, it's not Bradford. Before you say it's not Bradford, it's Morocco that we follow, right? So we follow Morocco, but some Muslims in the UK follow Saudi. So like even some people that I work with, even family in the past, I've had it on different days. So Eid's going to be hopefully Friday, but potentially Saturday. If it is Saturday, I'm going to be waking up Saturday morning first thing, get myself clean, get my Eid clothes on, straight to the masjid with my dad, the mosque for you lot. After that, we'll stay there for a bit. And then what will happen is, sometimes we'll see quite often we'll see like old family friends, because we go to the mosque that my dad's been to like all my life. And there's like a lot of Muslims from the area, like family friends that we know from kids who go to that mosque, well, from when I was a kid, who go to that mosque. And if you bump into some of them, like sometimes they'll be like, oh, you know, come over to the house, come to ours now, come to ours. And you don't want to say no, it's Eid. You shouldn't say no, you should go. You should spend time with your brothers. So we'll go and do that if we bump into someone like that. We'll spend a bit of time there. Then we'll go to the graveyard. We'll see the family members that are passed. We'll go pray and pay our respects and that kind of thing. By this point, Mum's phoning, where are you both? You should be back by now. Like, what's taking you so long? Oh, we went to this person's house because we bumped into them, so that's where we were. And this is also what happens, is you go to that person's house, and they got a big family, so then you're seeing all the other family members who are coming over and stuff, and I've not seen them in ages. So for me, I want to see them and spend a bit of time, but at the same time, I know Mum's at home. She's waiting for us to get back. Maybe she wants Dad to pick up one ingredient, like, oh, we need one extra tub of yogurt, so she needs that for like a certain thing of the food. So she's like, come on, where are you? I need this thing. So it's like, you're playing this thing of like, you don't want to let anyone down. I want to spend time with Mum, but I also want to spend time with family friends that I've not seen in a long time and getting to catch up with them. And they'll say, how's work? And how's comedy going? I've seen you on TikTok and da-da-da-da-da. And it's great having those catch-ups. So you do all that, like you go to the mosque, you go, then you'll pick up whatever Mum wants, and Mum will want a newspaper as well, so we'll get on the newspaper. She reads the Daily Mail. We won't be going into that one today. That's interesting, isn't it? She reads the Daily Mail. What's it called? We'll then go potentially to multiple family members' houses, or we may just spend time together. Then Saturday night, after all that, I'm gonna be in like doing this gig. But this is the thing with the family. Like, so when I was a kid, I want to wrap up the whole lead thing. Actually, I want to talk about it in a bit more thing. By the way, this is only supposed to be here for winter. And I said to myself, do you know what? When it warms up, I'm going to shave it. It's been warm the last few days. So I said I will shave it after Eid, and it's going to be Eid this week. So whatever day Eid's on, the day after, this has been shaved off. So I'm going to go with a clean shave going forward. And yeah, going to be trimmed off, which should be interesting. Mate, I don't know. I'll see how I feel. But I will be shaving it, yeah. I'll be shaving it off. And Eid's weird because like when I was a kid, it was very different because we didn't really have much family here as kids. We just had us, and then my dad had a cousin in Manchester who was basically like my dad's brother. They were the only family they had for each other here when they both came over from Pakistan. I think the first one came in the 60s. I think my dad came in the 70s. Again, I don't really know off the top of my head the numbers. And in fact, that's how we know that family friend is that the patriarch of that family and my dad's cousin, they lived together when they first came to the UK in like the 60s. And this is like how close that relationship is, that our families kind of go back all the way to the 60s to the point where now our families know each other back home. So if there's something that goes on back home, they'll be in contact with each other and they'll go and see each other and that kind of thing. And it's nice that like you can create these kind of bonds, and I love that stuff. But yeah, so we would go and see him as kids, and that was great. And because that was our only family, so we'd see them all the time and spend time with them on Eid. But then it did start to break down as like we got a little bit older, because sometimes they'd have Eid a different day, and like when we all stopped being kids, it was a little bit harder because like, I worked during Eid, for example, so like I may not be available at the same time, so I'm not spending the same amount of time as everyone else is getting to spend together. So like the amount of time was like, there was a breakdown there in the amount of time. So it went from this amount to like a smaller amount. So anyway, Saturday night, if Eid's Friday, I'll see my parents in the evening and that kind of thing. If it's Saturday, I'll see them first thing in the morning, spend all day with them. Saturday night, I'm in Penrith for Manford's Comedy Club. Now, Manford's Comedy Club, as you can tell by the name, it's a very well-respected comedy club. A lot of people want to work for them, especially when you're a new comedian. You're trying to prove yourself. You want to be on these lineups with the heavy hitters, and you want to kind of prove yourself in front of like these audiences to be like, this is where I belong here. Now, whether you do belong there or not, that's the proof is in the pudding there. You've kind of got to prove yourself, and hopefully, touch wood, I'll be coming back next week saying, oh my God, I really enjoyed myself and had a good gig. You'll notice I don't really say I had a good gig, but when I say I really enjoyed myself, it's maybe that's the hint there that I had a good gig. So if I had a novel gig, I'd be like, you know what, I don't really want to go back there again. I didn't like them. I didn't like them. And when in actuality, they didn't like you. Anyway, so that's going to be Saturday night. Penrith Playhouse, I think it is. And I'm looking forward to it, because anytime you get to be on like one of those prestigious lineups, it is good, and it's good to like rub shoulders with those kind of people and see where you sit and see if you can bolster your reputation maybe and get them thinking, oh, what, this kid's all right actually, because of, through the years you have poor performances in front of a lot of people, and you start to think to yourself, oh no, I hope they're just going to think of me like that. I hope they don't think of me like that, but they are going to think of you like that, because if you had a poor performance in front of them, they're just going to be like, oh, this guy's rubbish. So, and it's a very judgy world, the stand-up comedy world, so you want to do well. But that's going to be Saturday night. And then, so this is Penrith all the way up there, and then back to the Midlands. Sunday afternoon, I'm opening like an Eid show in Leicester. And I don't even know where that is. Obviously, it's going to be like an Asian crowd, probably a mostly Muslim crowd. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to getting out there, getting in front of them, doing my jokes, and just having a good time in front of that crowd. And because you can kind of do different things, and you can talk about slightly different topics than I would talk about in more of a mainstream gig, where like it's a mixed room. But whereas like when it's just the Asian and Muslim crowd, I can go, okay, I can lean on these kind of concepts and these kind of things and talk about this. But yeah, that's going to be Sunday. And then Monday is the gig that I run in Hindley for Roxanne. Shout out Roxanne. Let's have another great gig. I've been messaging a few people. Come on, come down, get tickets, that kind of thing. So hopefully that'll be a sellout, touch wood again. And that should be a good one. I'll be hosting that. I don't get to host it often, so I get to flex those muscles and do that. So yeah, that was me last week of gigs. This is my next week of gigs. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday in Penrith, Leicester, Wigan, like that. How good is my geography, by the way? I bet if you put that over a map, it'd be bang on. That's what I've got coming up. Oh, let's talk about this actually. Louis Theroux Manosphere documentary. What was going on with all that? So obviously I've seen the clips on social media from when he was filming alongside HS Tiki Toki, which, I mean, what a silly name that is, but I guess he's only 23. This is one thing that I've got to remember when talking about him, is he's a young lad. Mummy, I don't want a juice bar. That was hilarious. That was absolutely hilarious when that happened. Mummy, I don't want a juice bar. Anyway, I can't even begin to talk about how daft this manosphere whole thing is, and they talk about how oh, I'm a man, and they have these very old-fashioned, and we'll just call it traditional, just for balance, shall we? They have these very traditional views of this is what a man is and this is what a woman is. But then at the same time, some of them were doing non-traditional things, like promoting OnlyFans girls, which that goes against the traditions of what a man does and what a woman does. So what do you believe here? And the common thing seems to be that they don't necessarily practice what they preach. And another common thing was they all kind of crumble when the women in their lives are there in front of them. So they'll say one thing, and then you put the woman in their lives next to them. The woman in their lives is like, no, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. And what he says in front of the camera and what he says to me is two different things. And then you start to think to yourself, like, where is the line in society where we make a decision that we want to put things out there that is for the detriment of society, but for the betterment of us? So if I'm going to make money off it, then I'm willing to do it. And I really don't like that thought process. It's not something that I agree with, and it's not something that I necessarily have. I try not to practice, essentially. I try not to do anything like that. So if I disagree with it, I'll do my best to not do it. Now, don't get me wrong, I could be a hypocrite for the right price, but only on certain things. I feel like only on certain things I could be a hypocrite. I don't think I could do anything that I truly believe hardline. And a lot of their things they do seem to say is like hardline. They go, I believe a man should be this and a woman should be this. And that's their hardline view. And then they go, yeah, but then I get paid to like make sure women do this other thing that goes completely against what I think. So, one, they're talking absolute nonsense a lot of the time. They're pushing an agenda which is really making the world worse. And essentially, they're hypocrites whilst doing it. So, I disagree with what they say. And then I disagree with the fact that they'll do it even though they know better. Like, it's so ridiculous. Like I say, that HS Tiki Toki guy, I've seen a couple clips of him on TikTok or whatever, and I've seen the guy who mocks him and does the parody of him and stuff like that. And parts of me was just like looking at him like, you seem like a lost boy. You seem like someone who you want to be something special, and you found this kind of avenue where you're able to gain a lot of attention and a lot of people looking at you and stuff like that. And I understand the attention culture and that there's currency in attention. And again, I'm not going to claim that I don't do certain things for attention, but you have to question what's the end goal of that attention. So for example, I'll put things on Instagram. I'm making this right now. I'll put things on TikTok. I'll make videos for views. Why? Why do I want people to see me? Well, I want people to see me so they follow me and then they come and see me do my stand-up comedy because that's what I want them to do. And I think it's, what's the word? Wholesome may be the wrong word, but I think it's like it's a fair economy, that, because I'm putting stuff out there. If you like what I do, then you'll like my stand-up comedy. If you like the kind of videos that I put online, you'll like my stand-up comedy. So I want people to come and buy tickets to come and see me so that I can make this a career. But at the same time, I only want to sell tickets to people who want to come and see me. I don't just want to go out there on the streets like and just be like, find 25 people and be like, yeah, can you lot pay 20 quid each and then I'll get, bloody hell, now you're testing your own maths here, Adam, 500 quid for this next hour and then that's it, and just rip people off for 20 quid. But I don't want to do that. What I'd rather do is sell tickets to a room full of 100 people who are paying like 15 quid a pop or whatever, of people who want to see what I'm doing. Like, I want to play to an audience who like what I do. So for me, that's why I want the attention and why I want to put things out there for attention, is that I want to get the attention of the people who enjoy the stuff that I'm doing. When they put stuff out there, it seems like they're putting stuff out there because they just want the notoriety and they're willing to do anything that's going to give them that notoriety and build their base of people who watch them. But for what goal? Just for them to make more of this same silly stuff. Like, what's his mate called? Ed Matthews, and they had the little clips of Ed Matthews and he was making YouTube videos of him reviewing marshmallows or something. You can clearly see this guy's grown up in a culture where being an influencer and being a content creator is something of note and something of value. So he wants to be that however he can do it, whether it's going up on a Benidorm strip and asking girls for the phone numbers, or whether it's stinging predators, let's just call them. I'm trying to think of the right words to not get flagged on here, but you know. And again, that's an interesting thing as well, the whole stinging predators thing, because on the surface of it, it's a very positive thing doing that to stop people from getting to young children is such a great thing to be able to stop. Like, to be able to stop people from doing that is great. Let's keep them away from them. But at the same time, you look at it and going, are they just trying to find anyone? Are they just going out their way? And are they lying to us as well? Are they not actually communicating the same things they're telling us they're communicating to them? It's a very murky world, and it's something that I don't really understand. And obviously they set that guy up, and then they all beat him up and just physically jumped him. And again, I don't know what did they say to that guy to get him there? Because one of the guys was like, "Oh, I've arranged a meet with this guy," but how did you arrange the meet? Did you arrange the meet pretending to be a child? Because if you did, then I can understand it more. But if you just arranged the meet as you, and you're beating him up because he's gay, then like, what's going on here? I don't really understand. So it's a confusing thing, and this whole currency of attention and content creation for the sake of content creation is something that I disagree with. And like I know for a fact there's certain things I can say and certain videos I can make that would get loads of attention, but I don't want attention just for the sake of the attention. I only want it for the people who want to come and see my stand-up, who are going to find me interesting or funny, preferably both, and that should be the majority of the stuff that I put out there, right? Anyway, mad documentary. I don't know what I thought. And then there's that guy, and he's in front of his girlfriend, and he's saying, "Yeah, I'm gonna have 5 wives and all this." And then she's like, "I'm not too sure about that." And then the little end thing is like, "Yep, she's left him now. She's no longer with him." And he's going, "Oh yeah, it's not her fault," and all this kind of stuff. And it probably wasn't her fault. Why would it be her fault? And if you think she is that good, why wouldn't you just be like, "Do you know what? This is a really good thing I've got going here. I should be with you." But he knows deep down that if he does that, maybe his empire crumbles, and maybe that's the reason why he doesn't do it. And maybe that's, yeah. Oh, it's a tricky world, isn't it? And I get, yeah, because it's weird because I don't actually, you'll find it really weird me saying this, but I don't actually like social media in how it's become. I loved it when it was social networking and you can keep up with your friends and you can share things like holiday pictures, or I just met bloody Ian Brown from the Stone Roses, you know, that kind of stuff's great. But when it's come to this thing where everything's about making content and just getting attention, and you have all these pages that just steal popular videos and put them on their own page. Why? Because they want the attention on their page so they can monetize it and potentially sell that page further down the road. Because once they can build it to 2.5 million followers, they sell it to someone and then start the process again. Like, it just feels like such a hollow thing. It might sound a bit like Ponzi, but like, I feel like with stand-up, it's all about the art, and making all these things I just see as sides to the art of me being a stand-up. People might completely disagree with me. You know, that's completely fair if you do disagree with me, and I'm not saying what I think is right, but I'm saying what I think, if that makes sense. And that's their whole thing as well, as on, I'm just saying it how it is, I'm just saying it how, and really they're not saying it how it is. And you know, it gets a bit dangerous as well, because you notice that like a lot of the people who were coming up to them on the street were all kids. Like, I didn't see anyone over the age, like over 30, who came up to them. Everyone was clearly under that age. And it's like, you're just appealing to vulnerable young men. And that's another thing that, like, it must be scary. And I was talking to a woman about this, and she's got 2 young lads. And she says that her husband makes very soft sexist jokes. So it's not like, they're not vulgar ones, but it's stuff like, why do women have small feet? Or so they can stand close to the sink. You know, that kind of stuff we've all heard, and it's a bit passé. She was talking about it, and she was saying how, like, she heard her son saying certain thing on headset about like women football players, and I guess it's a thing that you do have to be wary about, that like, because you can't see everything that your kids watch. My parents didn't know everything that I watched when I was a kid. I was watching, you know, Nightmare on Elm Street when I was about 8 years old or whatever, nicking it out of my brother's room. There's no chance you can always know what your kids are up to. Even when you think they're safe at home, there's always something that can happen, especially with the internet and stuff like that. So it's yeah, it's a very interesting interesting one that they focus on these young kids, because they are essentially, you can look at them and, you know, people might say that they're another form of predator because they prey on these young children and they try and like corrupt their minds and then get them to the point where once they're 18, boom, now like they can do that thing like, oh, put this amount of money into this like savings scheme and crypto this and stocks and shares that and day trading and I can make you all this money, and you hear all that stuff and you're like, oh, it's a really murky world out there, and you can really fall into something really horrible if you just... Because I try and be as balanced as possible, right? And so there's this whole incel culture as well, and you look at it and you're like, I can understand what it would be like to be a young man and not getting any attention from females, but craving it so deeply. And then everywhere you see online is all these people, like, they'll call you, oh, you're a loser because you're not this and that and that. And then if those people, like, maybe they start to resent the people who are getting the women, maybe they start to resent the women themselves. And I guess that could just build and build and build in someone. And you see someone who's telling you, I've got all the answers. This is what you need to be. You need to be this kind of man for your woman. You need to be this. And like... It's poisonous, man. It's poisonous. Maybe I've talked about that for too long. Maybe I should move. I'll move on to something more positive. Hulk Hogan. Somebody bought Hulk Hogan's boot from the first ever WrestleMania in 1984. Madison Square Garden, main event. Muhammad Ali was the special referee. Randy Orton's dad was on the other team with Roddy Piper. Mr. T was Hulk Hogan's tag team partner. Quite a star-studded thing, right? Someone's bought one of his boots that Hogan signed and he wrote like, oh, this is from WrestleMania 1, for $1 million. $1 million for a blood-stained, old, sweaty boot. Like, the collectibles world is so... I can't believe it. I can't believe how big the collectibles world is. And I understand it because I'm a collector myself. Like, I'm massive into wrestling cards, for example. And like, I've got, so one of the biggest WrestleMania matches of all time is The Rock versus Hulk Hogan, WrestleMania 18, 2002. I've got one of their trading cards with a piece of the mat from that match inside it. And I got it for like $30 or something. But I remember buying it thinking like, this should be worth hundreds of dollars, this. Like, even if it's only $200, it should be worth a good amount because this is a piece of history for like wrestling fans, collectors. It's only this big, so you can just store it very easily. It doesn't take up a lot of room. You can display it, whatever. So I'm a big collector, but it's mad that people buy stuff for this amount of money. And like, there's that show on Netflix, isn't there? Golden Collectibles. That's another good documentary. And yeah, the fact that people have that amount of money to begin with as well. Because this is another thing, and this is links back into that manosphere stuff is, if you're poor, and you have someone who's like, and again, you're one of those incels, you can't get a woman, you can't find anyone who finds you attractive. And then you see these people go, nah, it's just about your mindset. Nah, this is how you can make money very easily. There are people genuinely out there who are making money hand over fist relatively easily. And you're absolutely grafting out there. Maybe you've got a 15-hour part-time job and they won't even give you full-time hours, and that makes you feel like even more of a loser because you can't afford to take someone out. And that then leads you to putting money into these investment schemes and all these kind of things that they want to push you into. But yeah, I'd love to be one of those people who just found an easy way to make money. You just have like this get-rich-quick scheme where you just put the bit of time into something, and then you've just always got the money rolling in. That, I mean, it'd be great. We'd all love something like that, don't we? Or won't we, should I say? But yeah, King Collectibles, might want to check that out. But it will have you looking at like the screen, being like, "How's this person got all this money? How are they spending $100 grand on a Michael Jackson glove? How are they spending like 57 grand on a Eminem signed LP of his debut album and all this stuff?" And you're going, "Wow. How is there so much money out there and I've got none of it?" Yeah, I'd look at it like that, to be honest with you. And I'm happy with my life. Again, I can only imagine what the people are unhappy about it. Do you know the thing with Louis Theroux is as well? I think Louis Theroux, he's the one who got me into documentaries. I remember the first time I ever saw a Louis Theroux documentary was in 1999. My mum taped it on TV for me. And it was, I think it was called Weird Weekends or Louis Theroux Meets or something. I think it was Weird Weekends. And he went to WCW, which is the big wrestling show at the time. I'm wearing an ECW shirt, by the way, for the wrestling fans out there. He went to go and train with the WCW wrestlers and go and meet all the WCW wrestlers, which is the biggest company in the world at the time. Well, but they just phased out of being the biggest one at the time. Actually, WWF had been back to number one. And my mum filmed it for me, and I recorded it on the TV for me. And I watched it, and I was like, this is good. And then when I became like, I don't know, about 17, 18, I went back and I watched loads of them. I remember he had like the one where he went and saw the porn world, and I found that fascinating as like a teenager to see like what that is really like behind the scenes. And he had the ones where he met Chris Eubank, and you've seen Chris Eubank, who's a legend boxer, and you look at him like, he's a little bit weird, this guy. And obviously, the word you would use now is eccentric, like as an adult, knowing more words. But you look at him as a kid, and like, this guy's weird. Yeah, why is he saying all this stuff? And I think Chris Eubank Jr.'s in it as a child. And is that the one where he's asking to be a boxer, and his dad's like, no. And then obviously the one with Jimmy Savile, that was a mad one as well. That was a mad one, and I wonder how close the stuff Savile said to him was to some of the manosphere stuff said to him. Because I remember what he was like in those videos where he's like, oh no, I don't have a girlfriend. Oh no, I don't have a girlfriend. Me, no. You can't hold me down. There's only one woman in my life, and that's my mother. I don't have any other woman in my life besides a mother. Maybe for 10, 15 minutes here or there, but besides that, it's just me and my mother. I love my mother, I do. And then you find out in later years, and obviously there was the whispers at the time what he was doing. Not good, but Theroux really did help to reveal him. And Theroux said that in the documentary, in the Manosphere one. Yeah. I think as well, another thing that I'm thinking at the moment, I feel like we're having a rise in negativity as a whole. Like, I feel that we're having a rise in racism in the UK. And I feel like it's going really quickly. So I remember I did a video and I put it on Instagram about 2 or 3 months ago, and it was about how you can't be anti-immigration and be a football fan, essentially, because football literally relies on immigrant workforce, especially if you want your team to be one of the best teams in Europe. You've got to have an immigrant workforce. Yeah, England could just go back to having only English players like it was like 70 years ago or whatever. And yeah, every English team you'd find out who the best team is that way. But as soon as you go on the continent with only English players and you can't get the best of the best from around the world, they'll soon realise that, oh crap, we do need an immigrant workforce. And that football's a great example of how well an immigrant workforce is. But people were commenting on that video going, no, nobody's against immigration. They're only against illegal immigration. And I was saying to them, believe me, there's people out there who are against all immigration. And no one really commented on that video saying that they were. So I thought, you know what, maybe there's not that many, because if there were that many, they'd be flooding this thing. I've put a few videos out this week that have done quite well. I think I've had about 500,000 views this week between the platforms. And I have had people in these comments, like, the amount of racism that you see in there now is ridiculous. The amount of bigotry, Islamophobia, all the phobias in there is just wild. So, like, there's people on there, and they're saying to me, like, you're going to be deported, mate. You're going to wait till 2028. You're going to be deported. And I'm like, is this really what you want? Is this really? Like, because I completely understand when people say, listen, we want to keep our streets safe and we're worried about immigrants coming to the UK who could be criminals. I understand that point of view. Not that I agree with it, because I actually think that what you're doing there is you're going, immigrants are criminals and they're coming here to cause trouble, which I don't think is the case. Some obviously will commit crimes, 100%, and we need to do what we can to stop as many crimes as possible. So there's a conversation to be had there, right? However, what I don't understand is these people who are just being like, no immigrants, no foreigners, no Muslims, no Asians. The amount of people who say the P word in my comments now, and I'll be honest, it's mostly Indians. It's mostly Indians who say that word, not so much that many white people, but some white people are starting to say it as well. But I'm looking at it and going, are we getting more racist as a society? Is it just bots? Like, because it doesn't make England look good. And I think this is really confusing for them, because in their mind, they think England is the best and the best at everything, and the only things that are wrong with England is immigrants and that kind of thing. And I feel bad for these people, because obviously they're not very intelligent people. And I sometimes will go, do you know what? I'm going to take the time to educate you here. And sometimes I'll be like, do you know what? I ain't giving you an, like, some people will be like, oh, what do you think of child marriages? Do you support child marriages? And like, I used to just say, no, of course I don't. And now I'm just like, I ain't giving you an answer. Why would I waste my time giving you an answer? I'll wind you up and say you're not worth an answer, because that's what I genuinely think now. If I see someone writing that, what do you think of child marriages? It's such a stupid thing to ask. I don't know anyone that believes in child marriage, right? Let's just get that out of the way. I'll be honest, I mean, listen, I'm not even married yet myself, so how can you talk about me being like pro-bloody child marriage? And look at me, I'm in my 30s and not married. Different story for a different day. But now when people ask me that, I go, listen, mate, you specifically are not worth an answer. And then they're like, I'm worth a lot replying to them. I'm like, nah, I'm literally just putting comments in my algorithm so that this gets pumped out to more people, and more people can see it, and more people who like me can follow me. And that's the only reason why I'm doing it. And they'll still be like, oh, can't give me an answer, can you? Can't give me an answer. And I'm like, mate, go back to my original comment. You're not worth an answer. Like, I value, if you're going to ask me that question, I value you so little that, like, I'm not even going to bother, like, because I don't care what you think my answer to that is either way. Because if you think it's even a question that I might support it, then I don't care about you. I don't care, because you think so lowly of me, then I'm clearly going to think so lowly of you in return. And this is what I'm getting a lot nowadays, and I'm getting a lot of these people. And I had one today, someone saying something like that, saying something, do you believe in such a thing? And I was like, it was a thing they took from the Quran completely out of context. And I thought, you know what? I could waste my time trying to educate that person, but they don't want that answer. They just want to be like, you're skating around it, you're doing this. So I go, do you know what? I'm not going to play into your answer and play your game. I'm just going to tell you, your opinion means so little to me that I ain't going to give you an answer. How about that? And that hopefully winds them up even more, because I'm like, listen, you're not worth my time. But yeah, when I see the racism, it's like, I went on TikTok live the other day to promote this podcast and tell people about it, and people were being like there was a guy, like there's two guys in there putting loads of like racist and Islamophobic stuff in there, and I was like, and I specifically said to him, I go, listen, this is a fact, so I'm going to tell you a fact right here. You can either agree with it or disagree. If you disagree with it, then I'm not going to read any more of your comments. They stayed there for another half an hour posting comments, and I literally just kept ignoring them and didn't even read what they said. And I thought, like, there must be something wrong with these people if they're going to waste that amount of time, like, trying to desperately get my attention, and they think they're winning. And people in my comments being like, do you want me to moderate? And I was like, no, leave it. I'm not bothered. Let them keep commenting. This might share it to more people in the algorithm and get more people in there. So, yeah, either way, like, yeah, are we getting more racist? I think so. What can we do to combat it? I'm not even sure at this stage, because there does seem to be a divide between like intelligent people and idiots at the moment. And there are some intelligent people on the idiot side, and that makes it even worse, because they start to put together what sounds like good arguments, and then they just, like I saw, there's this podcast guy, he's got a bald head, I don't know his name, and like, he's so clear what he does. Like, he's very like Islamophobic in what he says, and he's always like, no, I challenge all my guests. But he seems to really, really go out when he's got a Muslim on there, and it's just I look at it and I'm like, is this what we've come to? Have we moved backwards? Have we moved back to the 70s and that kind of mentality in our heads? Like, we want Britain to move forward. Let's move forward. Let's be progressive. Let's go. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's going to be the end of this podcast. We've hit about 55 minutes there. That's fantastic. I've enjoyed this. I've enjoyed telling you about my awful experience in Tameside this weekend, going to Hyde and then going to Droylsden. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and I'll see you soon with episode 13. I think it's coming up next. I think we're getting through these, aren't we?